We're at the New York City Pride Parade to answer the question if furries are taking them over. What do you think Pride Parades mean to you and the LGBTQ plus community as a whole?
We're still fighting for our rights because currently our rights are kind of trashed right now.
It means 100% freedom. It gives me the power to do whatever I want, when I want. They allow everybody to express themselves in so many ways. Represent my friends and family who are also part of the LGBTQ community. That people are caring and kind and have a great time.
How were LGBTQ plus topics discussed growing up? When did you realize you were LGBTQ plus? Would you think that furries would have similar experiences?
Probably elementary school, maybe middle school. It was pretty positive. In regards to furries, I didn't know any until college. There's still a bit of a stigma.
I realized I was a furry before I realized I was trans. But I was in denial of one of those for years. I definitely realized I was trans when I was 12, 13.
Yeah, we kind of do. Everybody has a way for self-expression and love for things, all people in some way. It may be weird to some people, but in the long term, people will come to accept it.
The furry fandom sees a lot of people creating animal characters, also known as personas, to express themselves. Do you think the LGBTQ plus community do something similar?
To a degree, yeah. My persona is what I wanted to be before I got my top surgery.
Yes, furries have their own preference on which animal they could choose to be.
Many furries often use their persona to have a different sexual orientation or gender identity to explore themselves. Do you think the LGBTQ plus community does something similar?
Yeah, you feel free to be yourself.
Yeah, furs who are in the community do put their identity on it.
People do use their sexuality to speak to different people. It's no different from furries when we express our personas towards other people. It shouldn't create a barrier towards each other to create a whole community.
Do you think the furry fandom has grown because of greater acceptance to the LGBTQ plus community?
For sure. Ever since the furry fandom dipped their toes in the LGBTQ community, it makes it easier for us to become accepted by society. But we still have an uphill battle. There's always going to be bad apples within the community that's going to hurt us or despise us.
Furries have been in the forefront of acceptance, notably with furcons having gender-neutral bathrooms and pronoun ribbons. Do you think your acceptance of furries at Pride Parades broadens the LGBTQ plus scope and its goal of inclusivity?
To a degree, yes. We always been at these events. A lot of us have just not been in our suits.
We can accept the furries into the Pride community. We're just as valid as them. The more people, the better. If the LGBTQ are way more accepted towards the furry community, we're getting more protection and more rights. Society is going to look at furries as another form of pride. The LGBTQ, slowly but surely, is going to accept us as a whole. The greatest thing that could ever happen if the LGBTQ represents the furry fandom and remember all the great times that we can introduce to each other.
Boston, Massachusetts, and Portland, Maine saw Anthem, New England, and Vacationland, two furry conventions marching in the Pride Parades. Do you think the inclusion of furries at Pride Parades helps or hinders the progress of LGBTQ rights?
We're just expressing ourselves just like any other human being. It gives us a way to channel our message towards the public in such a way that society can look at us and not be filled with hatred and disgust.
What do you believe are the potential benefits of embracing furries at Pride Parades?
Keep cutting down stigmas and better overall message.
You can be yourself no matter who you are. One of my coworkers came out in a pup hood.
Do you believe more furry conventions should be involved in Pride Parades like in New York City?
If the furry convention was just as big as the Pride Parades, I think furries as a whole would be way more recognized. Eventually we're going to create a culture that's going to be just like any other culture throughout the world.
Media's historical portrayal of furries has been negative, most notably in CSI Fur and Loading, portraying them as sexual deviants. The LGBTQ plus community has faced similar negative portrayals, most notably with rampant misinformation of HIV/AIDS in the 80s. However, these groups have gained greater acceptance with better education and less biased portrayals in the media. Do you believe these two are related?
Any media portrayal that's made by people that aren't part of the community is from a different perspective that's not always accurate.
There is correlation between the two. They're all deviants, so they all should be punished for it. No matter who you are, you're gonna be portrayed horribly in media. All of the villains in Disney shows and movies have either been a furry or gay or both.
What we need to do to combat the stigma and the negativity towards the furry community and the LGBTQ, keep on producing more content on the social media that furries could be a positive thing. Get rid of the negativity or help people gravitate towards the positive aspects of the fandom and the LGBTQ.
In the past few years, LGBTQ rights have been attacked in Florida by Governor Ron DeSantis, most notably with the anti-drag bill. This has led to many Pride Parades being canceled and Florida-based FurCon megaplex that restricted their attendance to adults. Do you believe the struggle for acceptance between the furry and LGBTQ plus community is shared?
Yeah, I still think within a subset of it.
I think there is, yeah. There's some correlation within it as well.
It's not shared right now because people are still trying to understand what is the LGBTQ. For those who are still battling discrimination, we gotta do better as a whole in many ways. Create more laws that can protect the LGBTQ.
The presence of more intimate aspects of the LGBTQ plus community have been criticized. Some argue it detracts from the seriousness of the LGBTQ plus community's struggle for acceptance.
As long as you're doing it in a serious manner, I feel like you'll be okay.
Why does it matter if I show up in a fursuit? It's not affecting you.
Looking ahead, how do you see furry involvement in Pride Parades evolving and changing over time? And what impact will it have on the LGBTQ plus community's goals and activism? Do you think it's going to help fight against the current level of anti-LGBTQ plus laws in the country?
I think we should be teaming up more to fight oppression. We're all oppressed in some way, shape, or form. Instead of oppressing each other, we should be helping each other.
The more involvement that the furry fandom and the LGBTQ has towards society, the more power and ability to fight against discrimination. And to grow, everybody should be equal. Well, there's always going to be certain people that's going to hate us and want to criticize. If our hobby is going to attack many other hobbies and lifestyles, let people live, then the world will be a better place.
Do you want to know more about how fascist Florida Governor Ron DeSantis' attack on LGBTQ rights resulted in megaplex restricting attendance to adults? Check out this video.